this light closer. But hi, I am Sarah, and this nose that you are seeing here is Ruby. There's Ruby. Oops. Okay. If you are watching this back later, hi. I usually just like read the comments and answer the questions, and so there should be a setting for you to be able to read the comments. So it'll be more fun that way for you if you choose to hang out for that. So just a little, hi Fork. Hey Chip, good to see you. I've got Ruby sitting on my lap today. Hey Michelle, very good to see you. Hi Bailey, hello, hello. Hope everybody's doing well. Hi John. You all can probably see Ruby's big nose. Ooh, girl. Ooh. And if you hear crunches, that is Checkers has found some stray leaves. But she's allowed to eat leaves, actually. That's fine. Hello, Ekta. Hi. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Well, that's good, John. Oh, he's very bony. To be fair, if Ruby gets me with her elbows, that is uncomfortable. Let's see if you guys can see. Does this thing zoom in? Oh, it does. There's Checkers eating a leaf. Crunch, 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 crunch. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry. Oops. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, today is your Friday. Oh, well, good. Happy Friday. Oh, advice about a Bible study with a devout believer. Do they know that you're not a believer? Hi, Wes. Because I feel like that would make a difference. How big is Ruby? She is very tall. So you can kind of get a sense there. She takes up most of the couch. But she only weighs 80 pounds. She looks like she weighs over 100. Oh, they don't know. I mean, that's a tough situation. Yeah. I mean, if you're wanting to keep it hidden from them, it sounds like you're just going to have to sort of not say much, you know? Okay, it is time to filter a little bit. There we go. Yeah. Like, that's a good, yeah, a lot of, that's interesting, right? Yeah, we didn't quite make it 4 minutes before I had to turn the filter on today, but that's all right. Hi, Rachel. Good girl. That's true, Ekta. They can't all be good nights. That's, yeah, very true. Hi, Jeremy. For anyone who's new, hey, I'm Sarah, and this is a place for people who are deconstructing or questioning their faith or no longer believe. Hi, Checkers. And my background, I was a Protestant Christian, and I am now an agnostic atheist. Isn't that special? Uh, oh, that is quite a pear chip. Kind of like Ruby and Checkers. Although Checkers is probably maybe 1 to 2 pounds. Hey, Captain. Oh, okay, Jeremy, you're a Christian. Yeah, so this live will be mostly former Christians, and so you are definitely welcome here. But we do ask that you not use this space to try to convert others. So this is just it's a place of support for people who are in deconstruction. Well, I'm glad you made it, Amy. Hi, Autumn. Oh, you're very welcome, Rachel. Lurking is good, Autumn. Hi, William. Oh, thank you. Well, you too, Jeremy. So much shedding, Ruby. If any of you are in, probably like the top half of the US, the Northern Lights are out, and people from all over have been seeing them tonight. So if you have a chance and it's nighttime where you are, you might be able to see the Northern Lights. I know, it's super exciting. Oh no, I don't have. I look like I don't have the spirit of Santa Claus. Oh, in person. That's interesting, Chip. Yeah, I don't know where you would do that in person. Hi, Roxy. So I used to be a Christian, and I no longer am. I consider myself an agnostic atheist now. Um, so this whole channel is really for people who are in that process of deconstructing already and are looking for support and community. Bailey, I had to like kind of look around to get a view where I had to find like a patch of open sky to see them. Yeah, the trees will get in the way. Sleepy girl. Yeah, so Roxy, I actually have a whole video on it because it's kind of a long story. I have an FAQ playlist, and I think one of the first videos says like why I don't believe, something like that. Hey, Prestige. Yeah, so I mean, Peachy, um, morals are subjective whether you are religious or not. Um, you know, Christians don't even agree with each other about all of the moral rules. So yeah, I think your point is true either way. You good? Yeah. Ruby's like stretched out over most of the couch. I mean, yeah, to your point, I think our morals develop from our ability to experience empathy. And so there's a lot of overlap from person to person because of that. Well, Roxy, if someone if someone is genuinely seeking Jesus and they're reading the Bible and they're praying, and yet somehow they're able to be misled by doing all of those things, I think that would speak poorly of Jesus for him not stepping in. Well, curious to me, like the science of evolution is not mutually exclusive from religion. I think that you could be religious and accept evolution, or you could be an atheist and not accept evolution. So I think those are two really separate ideas. Well, Peachy, we still discuss it because it's not like morality is not just a philosophical idea, but it is real because we experience empathy. So we try to come to a consensus amongst our other humans because we know what it feels like to be hurt, and we don't want other people to experience that. Um, and so that's why it matters. That's why we care. Ekta, to be fair, I did ask a question in my prompt about morals. Or make a statement. I guess I made a statement about morality. Roxy says, well, sometimes Satan does interfere with God's plan when it comes to a believer. See, that would imply that Satan is more powerful than God. Why would God allow Satan to interfere with his plan, especially with one of his believers? Could God be misleading people and Satan is actually the good guy? You know, if you just read the Old Testament, I feel like you could make a pretty strong case for that. Do you believe in aliens? So I don't believe in like a big conspiracy to cover them up. I mean, I do think it's statistically likely that there's some other life somewhere. I don't know that it's ever come here though. Hey, TKC, good to see you. Yes, I'm an ex-Christian. So I used to be a Christian and now I am not. You're welcome. So, Roxy, yeah, if God is doing that just to test our faith or to test us in some way, that also would seem strange if God knows how it's all going to turn out anyway. At what age did you leave? So I stopped believing in God when I was 25 or 26. somewhere in there. 24, 25, mid-20s. Hey, Rational. Oh, well, thanks for tuning in either way, TK. Yeah, Rachel, it is such a strange sensation to so completely believe something and then later so completely not believe it. It's just really what's the word I'm looking for? Like a word for flipping your world upside down. Disorienting. Suggestions for how to get started. Oh, I mean, if you have technical questions, we can talk about that. But as far as getting started, I think the biggest thing is figuring out, do you want to put your face out there or not? You're much more vulnerable if you put your face out there. But I think it's really nice in a lot of ways to be able to have conversations. But yeah, other than that, just set up a camera and start. I found TikTok to be easier to start with. Do you think there are some things that are incomprehensible for people to ever know? Probably. That also seems likely. I mean, I can't predict the future, so if I think of some example, maybe in 1,000 years we'll have some way to know that thing, but it certainly seems likely that there are things we just won't ever understand. Yeah. Have you ever heard of the parable of the sower? You mean the Octavia Butler book, or have I read it in the New Testament? Both, yes. Hi, kind. George says the only way to be moral is if there is objective morality, correct? No, incorrect. I don't think there are objective morals in the same way that there are like mathematical laws. Thank you, Roxy. I hope you have a good night too. Some some says in Hinduism, Lord Krishna says, no matter what name you use to call upon me, be it Shiva, Hanuman, or Vishnu, I hear every prayer. I am not bound by any name or form. I like that. Isabel says, I left the faith a couple months ago. Do you know how to reclaim your sense of agency? I spend a lot of time wondering if my actions matter since I was convinced they were predetermined. Oh man, yeah. I think, as far as your actions mattering, um, a big part of that is knowing that you do affect other people right now. Um, I don't know if there's going to be any afterlife or anything, but um, if you treat someone kindly today, it matters to them today. My favorite quote is from Kurt Vonnegut, who says, the purpose of a human life, no matter who is in charge of it, is to love whoever is around to be loved. And I think it's sort of this loss and then gain when you lose that sense of God has this perfect plan for me and I have to just get on the right track and then I'll accomplish all these things God wanted me to do. And realizing there is no plan is hard and scary. But then I think it it opens up a lot of possibilities for you, and your your actions can have effects even if you don't do a big grand thing. Yeah, Calamus, it seems so. Um, yeah, for anyone asking why I don't believe anymore, I have a frequently asked questions playlist, and I have a whole video that answers that question for you. Pyramid says, I fear since leaving the faith, I will pay for it on Judgment Day if I'm wrong and there is a God. Um, I, I think that, you know, if you are genuinely trying to figure things out and doing the best you can to understand the world, and you're trying to um, be a good person, only a cruel God would punish you for that. Yeah, I agree. A loving God would not punish someone who's trying their best. Thank you, Chip. I think you should be a mod now. I think I made you one. Captain says, so I'm having some anger for my parents for my religious indoctrination, even though I know they were just lied to by their parents as well. So I'm trying to get past it. Yeah, I think it's one of those things where it is okay to be angry, like something really frustrating happened to you and you get to feel really frustrated about it. Um, you know, I, I I think a lot of us like ex-Christians have a hard time being angry. Um, but I don't think you have to like push it down. I think you can experience it, and I think that helps you move through it to get past it. Hi, Jordan. Owar says, were dinosaurs real or not for Christians? I would say the majority of Christians, yes, they are real. You might have some pretty fundamentalist Christians who would say no, but I imagine, this is just a guess, I am guessing the vast majority of Christians do think that there were dinosaurs. Did you explore other religions before becoming atheist? I didn't, actually. I think for me, because my belief in God was so intimately connected to the Bible. Like the Bible was how I knew there was a God. And everything I know about God came from the Bible. And so when I stopped believing the Bible was true, the entire idea of God just sort of disappeared. And I just didn't have any reason to go read another ancient text to try to find a different God, I guess. I don't know. It was just sort of how it happened for me. Peach, I'm going to try and find your whole question. I'll do my best. Oh, wait, I can't find the first part of it. That bro, we don't use all caps in here. So in a format like this, all caps is used to express yelling. So let's not use all caps, please. Hey, Autumn. Where do you believe the concept of good and bad comes from? I think it comes from our ability to experience empathy. Oh, can we see Ruby? Of course. Here she is. She's like tucked in here on the couch. No, I would not think that would be mentally ill. Georgianne, I'm doing my best to get to the comments, but I don't get to everybody's. How am I so calm? Years of practice, I guess. Daniel, well, I guess you didn't have to sub for that. I have a video that explains why I don't believe any longer. It's in my FAQ playlist. Christopher says, the amazing thing about Jesus is he suffered as you suffer. He knows your pain. So that actually I don't think is comforting or good. Because he has the power to stop it. Ooh, you good? Okay, bye. Like the idea that God suffers with us but doesn't help us, I don't find comforting. I consider myself an agnostic atheist. And I have been since 2009. Do I have a favorite type of tree? Oh my gosh. I love a southern magnolia. Always a palm tree, and I know it's not a tree exactly, but I love sea grapes. Live oaks. Ugh, love those. I love trees. what should the price of sin be? So I think generally, like, consequences should be proportionate to the amount of harm that you cause. This idea that, you know, if you commit one sin or 1,000 sins, you get the same eternal, infinite punishment doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. Bunnies are good. Who constitutes, you mean who decides how much harm you've done? The person you harm, they decide. Oh, Jordan, I'm incredibly sorry for your loss. Fenor says you definitely need God for objective morality. Otherwise, just saying something is wrong is your personal opinion. Yeah, so especially when we're talking about a God like the God in the Bible, it's essentially just his personal opinion. Like, if you are getting your morals from a God that thinks and feels, it is subject to him. Like, it's subject to his desires, his opinions. Yeah, this idea that like morals have to come from God, you then have to ask, like, sorry, I'm trying to plug in my phone too. How do you know God is good? Okay, sorry, I'm just gonna plug this in so my phone doesn't die on us. Okay. Oop, there we go. Mostly good. Okay. God tells us his qualities. So if God tells you he's good, that's all the evidence you need? Like, what if Satan told you he was good? Would you believe Satan too? And if you're going to tell me, well, God is good because of what he does, right? Like, God's actions are good. By what standard have you decided that God's actions are good? You know, like, you're still looking at God's actions and holding them up to a ruler, to a measuring stick. No, Daniel. The only time I bring up guests is on my TikTok on Saturday nights. In what position are you to raise these concerns? I am a human being. I think every human being should raise these concerns. Cute puppies, that's a beautiful way to think about it. CPU says, what if God is God because he abides by morals and morals exist independently from God? Right. To be able to say that God is good, you have to have some standard of good that is not God. Otherwise, you're just saying God is God and everything he does, we're just labeling as good. But then the word good becomes almost meaningless. Isn't it funny when Christians come on here and call me names? How does that make good meaningless? So, like, all the word in that case, all that would mean is that we're using this word good to describe God's actions. But if God commands you to take the lives of children, you would have to call that action good, right? Like it just, God could cause harm, he could bring turmoil and pain, and you'd still just have to call it good. Jordan, I will be back on Thursday night around the same time. What do you fall back on when everything in your life collapses? So I do have a support system. I have family and friends who I love and who love me. Um, I have mental health resources. I have physical health resources. Yeah, I have a lot. I have a lot that I can rely on. Hmm. Um, Sam C, I would absolutely recommend reaching out to a mental health care provider in some way. I don't, I know sometimes therapy isn't easy to access, but it sounds like you definitely need some kind of support. If I have a friend who usually comes on my lives, who is a trained psychologist, and she also has a background in working with substance use too. If you would like her contact information, you can send me a message on. You can send me a message on TikTok, and I can help you connect with her. Where did the fact that we are so different from any animal come from? Are you asking me how evolution works? And we are not so different from animals. Oh, thanks. Yes, there's some good tips in the comments too. Do you think that morality could be coded into the universe the same way other things are? Um, it's an interesting question. Sorry, I have something in my eye, poking my eyeball. I don't see how, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. So, I mean, I guess I couldn't completely rule it out, but I don't know how it would be. Suleski says, I was reading about the history of God, and it's actually funny that Yahweh was originally a lesser God of a small region. Yeah, it's been so interesting for me to do. I'm doing this series with Justin from Deconstruction Zone, and we're going through the Bible like chapter by chapter and learning about this sort of pantheon of gods has been super interesting. Yeah, Justin's kittens are so cute. Oh, thanks, 89. Yeah, Lewis, I really value kindness in that way too. Hey, David. Thanks for saying hi, Sharon. Oh, Justin has a kitten cam? Oh, I do need a bunny one. Good night, Peachy. Hi, Rez. Yeah, I mean, NL, I think a lot of times if your channel is about debating, everyone gets more worked up. And that's just, I think, the nature of any debate channel, you know? Picky, I hope that you find some peace someday. It's, I don't think someone who is happy and peaceful comes on to atheist chats to threaten people. I think only someone who's deeply unhappy does that. Um, I'm sorry to hear that, Picky. I just Res Soul or Res, I just stopped believing it was true. James says, look at it this way. If you create a game and set rules for that game, like day and night mechanics, you operate outside those rules so they don't apply to you, so good and evil don't apply to the creator. Then good and evil would be very subjective and not actually real things. If it's just a set of rules for us to play in this little game that we're playing, there would be no transcendent idea of good. God would not be good. Good would just be a set of rules he set for our little game. Dr. Joe, good to see you. I was just talking about you. Did you have a final piece of evidence that fully convinced you there was no God? No, there wasn't like one final piece of evidence. I think it was just kind of slow over time. David says, I'm a 72 Year old, been deconstructing for about 5 years. I get so much help just listening. Have been devoted evangelical. Dear wife of 52 years is not able to have much of a discussion, but I don't blame her. Yeah, gosh, that's so hard. Um, but I'm glad you have a place to at least listen or have these conversations. Do you hate people praying for you? I don't hate it when people pray for me. Sometimes people say it in a way that seems almost more like an insult, like, oh, well, I'll pray for you, which I don't appreciate. But when it comes from someone I love, I usually see it as an expression of love. I would think, Daniel, that would those things would be indicators of depression. I do still celebrate Christmas and Easter, but just in a secular way. Oh, yeah, David, we got you. And David, if you're not already aware, there's an organization called Recovering from Religion, and they do a lot of support groups. And a lot of those support groups are online, so you don't necessarily have to go in person. But that might be another good place just to meet some people and get more connections. Does your family accept you for not being a Christian? I'm the only one in my family who's not a believer anymore, and they think I'm influenced by demons. It's quite sad. I'm sorry. That's so hard. Um, my parents had a really hard time with it for a long time. Um, they, I'm sure they still want me to believe again, but we have come to a good place about it. Rezil, so I did. Oh yeah, Daniel. Sorry, there's two Daniels. Um, I did cry out in the name of Jesus. I did all the things. I don't know why you'd assume I hadn't. I'm sorry, Axel. I did listen to Christopher Hitchens some, but not a lot. Just because he's just not my vibe. Like I don't really relate to I mean, he's very, very smart, but also very cutting, and it's just, I didn't happen to connect to him. Um, but I mean, a very smart guy for sure. Yeah, Dr. Joe says the assumption that we didn't work hard enough for faith and grace is maddening. Jordan, if you're, um, another person to ask for some resources would be Dr. Joe, who's also in the chat. Yeah, Soul says the whole demon thing has caused so much harm to so many people. Sean asked, do you believe in karma at all? In the sense that good things and good energy come to those who are good people. I mean, so I don't believe in like a supernatural force of karma. I do think that that works that way sometimes, maybe even lots of times. You know, if you treat people well, if you are kind and thoughtful and generous, often that will come back to you just because people like that. You know, they like people who are kind, and they're probably more likely to treat you kindly as well. So I think often that can happen, but I don't necessarily believe in like a supernatural force behind it. Do you ever question if you could be wrong? Oh, certainly. I absolutely could be wrong. You know, it's just, then it's interesting, like what could be right? You know, there's so many possibilities. But absolutely I could be wrong. Yeah, Raging says it's interesting to hear Christians' response if that question was flipped. Do they ever think they could be wrong? You know, it's interesting every time, like if a Christian asks me, Sarah, do you think you could be wrong? And I say yes. And then I'll flip the question, do you think you could be wrong? And the only possibility that those particular Christians are willing to entertain is the possibility of nothingness after death. You know, when Christians ask me that question, they will speak as if the only two possibilities are either their version of God or nothing. And as soon as I start to say, well, if you're wrong, there are so many ways it could be right. And then they are unable to engage in the hypothetical any longer. Then the response I get from Christians is explaining to me, no, it's not possible for any of these other gods to exist. And we've left the hypothetical, and they're just unable to engage with that. Oh, yeah. So, Jade, thank you for proving the point I was just saying. Daniel M, yeah, I mean, there are definitely resources out there for you to just get some support. If you have access to therapy, I would absolutely investigate that just to get you some support. Hans, where in history does Jesus prove that he's God? James, God does ask his followers to take the lives of children. And that is a thing that he asks his followers to do in the Bible. You taken it out of context. Hans, you don't even know what I'm talking about yet. How do you know I've taken it out of context? Good night, Chip. Thank you so much for modding for me. Lewis says, I also think it's strange how so many of us humans would love to talk with God or Jesus for getting knowledge and answers, but for some reason it feels like Jesus just left Earth. I just said what? That God commanded his followers to take the lives of children? The person's comment said if God ever did that, it would be bad. He did do that. So you don't even know which instances I'm referring to because there are many. Oh man, Hans, you're not being a very good witness for Christ right now. Hans says, actually read the Bible before you take it out of context, lady. So I have. I've read the whole thing all the way through several times. Have you read the entire thing? All of it? Raging says, something I've wondered about is how come Jesus never explicitly says he is God? God the Father says he is God all the time. Yeah, you should ask a New Testament scholar that. I think there are several interpretations of that. Good night, CPU. Jordan, I'll be back on Thursday. Thanks, sources. Hi, Shishi. You would like to know what version of the Bible I have read. Several versions, actually. And Jade, if you're interested, on my page, I'm doing a whole Bible series. You can watch all those videos. I'm doing it with a biblical scholar. Oh, Michelle, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate that. Michelle says, thank you, Sarah, as you have been the calm in my storm of deconstruction for the last year and a half. You're so welcome. I'm so glad I've gotten to know you. Hi, Rachel. Hi, sir. Sir asks, do you feel like God exists, though, like as an agnostic, or do you feel nothing? I don't think God exists. Have I read the KJV? Some. It's not my preferred translation, and it's certainly not the most accurate translation. Yeah, Colby, I have a whole video about that you can watch. What do atheists believe happens after death? Generally nothing. Like we just cease existing. Do you think it's illogical to be a Gnostic atheist or Gnostic theist? Like I don't know what proof you would have, but I mean I certainly think that there are both of those. Yeah, Dr. Joe, I have. People who are super into the KJV seem to think it, I don't know, has special properties that it does not have. Okay, wake up. I hope you accomplish whatever it is you wanted to accomplish. How are you at peace with just ceasing to exist? Well, sometimes I'm not. I mean, I'm not always at peace with it. Although, also, I don't know that I want to exist for infinity. That sounds exhausting. Wake Up says, I am not teachable. I'm so glad you are teachable. Wake Up. Hi from England. Raging, no, I don't think there are objective moral truths. I think because our morals come from empathy, that we have a lot of overlap. But I don't think they're objective truths. Because I mean, our human morals are from our human perspective, right? Like, think about when a lion is chasing a deer. The deer thinks that the lion is acting immorally because it's coming to murder the deer. And do I think LGBT is real? So just to be crystal clear, I wholeheartedly support the queer community in its entirety. Um, yeah, but morals are based on our perspective. So like I don't know how they would exist in that type of objective sense. Hmm. Colby says, I'm a Christian and I still respect you, but some people just claim they're a Christian and can't respect other people. Those are wolves in sheep's clothing. Like, wake up. Wake up. The other Christians say that you're acting unkindly. So if you won't listen to me, that's fine, but perhaps you listen to your brothers and sisters in Christ. That's correct. I cannot tell you that your beliefs are wrong. Yep. So I can tell you why I think taking someone's life is bad. And then we as a society can agree that we don't accept that behavior in our society. And if you do that behavior, we will remove you from society. And that's as close to objective as we can get. Well, friends, I had better call it a night. I need to get to bed so I can get up at a reasonable hour in the morning. Um, if you want to get a hold of me, please come find me on TikTok. I have the same handle over there at Leaving Faith. And I will at least check my DMs over there. Um, I will be back here on YouTube on Thursday. And um, also, I have a series posted with Justin from Deconstruction Zone, so please do check that out as well. So thank you guys so much for a lovely conversation, and I will see you soon.